All right, everybody, we're gonna. Hello, I'm Brian. I'm with Ben's campaign. We're gonna get rolling here. We're gonna have Nico start us off. Once Senator Sanders hopped on, I'm gonna flip the camera around so that he can see you guys, see the people in the room. So throw him a wave once I do that. Apart from that, people in the front row, you guys are gonna be right next to the microphone. So just keep that in mind. And beyond that, we should be ready to get rolling here. Alright. Ready? Going live in 3, 2, 1. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. My name is Nico. I'm joined here today with nurses Rita and Renelsa from National Nurses United. Good evening, everyone. My name is Nico. I'm joined here today with nurses Rita and Renelsa from National Nurses United. I want to start off by thanking National Nurses United for hosting this Medicare for All house party in support of Democratic gubernatorial nominee Ben Jealous, and we will also be joined by Senator Sanders. So thank you all for hosting us, and thank you all for being here today. I also want to thank everyone for joining us at home through the live Facebook app. This is very much a people's campaign, so thank you so much for your support, and it is never too late to sign up, volunteer, knock doors for us, phone bank, and all of that information, donate. You can find that all on the benjealous.com website. So this is a people's campaign, and we really want to stress this, all your support, which means everything to us. For the Q&A session, I want to explain that a little for you today. We have it up here. If you could text house party to the number 2233 to get you started, and then after that you will be able to text the questions in, and then we will receive them live and we will be answering them. Ben will be answering them later today. So again, make sure that you text 22333, and then what you want to text is J house party 646. I'm going to say it just one more time. The number is 22333, and then you want to text J house party 646. Para la gente hispanohablante, gracias por estar aquí con nosotros. Nomás les quiero enseñar cómo textearnos para que Ben pueda contestar tus preguntas. J house party 646 a 2233. That is all for me. I want to introduce again Nurse Renelsa and thank again National Nurses United for hosting us here today. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Renelsa. I'm a registered nurse, a proud resident of Prince George's County, and definitely a proud member of National Nurses United. National Nurses United is proud to host this Medicare for All live stream with Ben Jealous. As nurses, we care for patients at the bedside, and we advocate for them in our communities, in the hall of government, and at the ballot box. I'm excited to have the opportunity to be here tonight to talk about healthcare in our state. And I'm also happy to be here with Ben Jealous, the Democratic candidate for governor of Maryland. Over a year ago, National Nurses United endorsed Ben, the former president of the NAACP, because of his track record on social, economic, and racial justice, including the vital issue of healthcare justice. He has a vision for our state that will lift up every one of us and to ensure that every single person in the state receives guaranteed therapeutic health care without having to pay for premiums to greedy health insurance companies or worry about costly deductibles and copays. We urgently need to change our healthcare system. Everyday nurses care for patients who have delayed care because they don't have insurance. Or if they have insurance, they cannot afford to use it because of high deductibles and copays. I recently had a patient who was 44 years old with a history of hypertension and diabetes who had been unemployed for about 9 months. Therefore, he could not afford his medicine or receive health care. When he came to us, he was tired, short of breath, and was hearing gurgling sounds when he was lying down. He was now being diagnosed with a V card, also known as heart failure. All of this could have been avoided if he had health care and was not dependent on his health care through his job. He's also a vet. Does this sound right to any of us?
No.
The insurance and pharmaceutical industry should not be allowed to decide how or if you should get medical care. That decision should rest with you, your doctors, and your nurses. In Maryland, over 600,000 people each year cannot afford to see a doctor. And during Governor Hogan's term, the situation has only gotten worse because of skyrocketing insurance rates. That is not right. We can and we must do better. Maryland needs leaders in our state government who will make health care a basic human right guaranteed to all. And the way we do that is to take insurance companies out of the equation and provide single-payer Medicare for all type system. I'm excited to stand with Vangelis because he shares nurses' dedication to patients. He agrees that no one should suffer or die due to the inability to pay. To get this done, we need Maryland's General Assembly to pass single-payer legislation and a governor that will not just sign that bill, but will fight for it. Nurses have been campaigning so that Vangelis becomes governor. We can save lives together. The time is now to build a healthy future for our families and our communities. Now, before Ben takes the floor, I'm sorry, but you'll get to see him. I'd like to take a minute to talk about another tremendous leader who stood with nurses and our patients in our communities for many years. In 2016 primary elections, Americans were blessed to have a candidate who spoke about the issues that they cared about. We were tired of seeing patients not getting the health care they need and deserve, wages stagnating, our school deteriorating, and our prison population expanding. We demand that our government work for the people and not for the 1%. We were tired of the status quo because it was keeping the people down. Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont fought for the people by advocating for policies that lift everyone up. A $15 minimum wage, tuition-free public college and universities, ending of mass incarceration, and of course, Medicare for all. And here in Maryland, Senator Sanders stood up with Vangelis from the very beginning of his campaign. So, without further ado, it's a privilege and honor to introduce Senator Bernie Sanders.
Well, thank you, Bernie. Thank you to everybody who's gathered with us in homes across Maryland and right here at the headquarters of National Nurses United. I want to thank the nurses for their leadership and thank Bernie for his leadership in helping our country see that we can be a nation of yes, we can. You hear that every other industrialized nation has done it. And yet the pharmaceutical lobby, insurance lobby, Koch brothers, Governor Hogan, Donald Trump wants you to believe that we somehow are the nation of no, we can't. That's not the America I believe in. I don't believe in no, we can't America. I believe in yes, we can America. Yes, we can, Maryland. And yes, we must. We're here in Silver Spring, Maryland. A little over a year ago, at the start of this campaign, I was talking to a group of women, mostly black and brown, all home-based daycare providers, heroes of their communities, literally taking a vow of poverty in order to care for other working people's children. We were talking about the urgent need for single-payer health care, for Medicare for all. And I talked about how when I was a kid, I came down with a seizure disorder, and I would have died but for a public health care program. A man walked by, a white-collar professional, and he broke down crying, sobbing by the time I got to him. I put my arm around him, and I said, please, brother, take a deep breath. I want to hear what you have to say. He said, Ben, you said that you had a seizure disorder when you were young. But for the government ensuring you had health care, you would have died. I said, that's right. He said, well, my girlfriend, she's beautiful. She's a 52-year-old psychologist right here in Montgomery County. World-renowned in her field. She had a gap in her employment. She started rationing her drugs. She couldn't afford her pharmaceuticals. She was too proud to tell me. She was too proud to tell her father. She had a seizure disorder. She had a seizure 5 nights ago and she died. He said, the reason I'm crying so hard is I just got off the phone with her father before I walked past her. He's a doctor in upstate New York. He asked me to send him his daughter's death certificate. And when he looked at it, he said to me, yeah, that's right. That's why she died. Asphyxiation from an epileptic seizure. But let's be honest, my baby ain't here anymore because she couldn't afford her health care. That's what the state that we're living in. Look around and you realize that in Maryland, our foreclosure crisis you can't explain without the healthcare crisis. High healthcare costs are the #1 cause of bankruptcy in Maryland and in America. You look around and you realize it's choking our small businesses. I tried to move a factory here from northern Canada to South Baltimore. It ultimately would have created 300 jobs on a block, 3/4 of which is a public housing project. Jobs that virtually any of those residents could have been trained to do. Good-paying jobs with health care. The deal fell apart in the 11th hour because under Larry Hogan, health care costs are up 120%. Does the governor have a long-term plan? No. The governor has a 1-year plan to reduce our health care costs by 15%. I'm a businessman. That means you nearly would have doubled my health care costs. That's not a real fix. And it's only for 1 year. And as a businessman, I can tell you, I can't plan for a year. I got a plan for a decade. I got a plan for 20 years. I got a plan to grow a small company into a big company. And Governor, I can't do that with 1 year. Chairman of my campaign is 80 years old. He's a graduate of Morgan State University. He's a graduate of the Wharton School of Business. He's a successful entrepreneur. He made a bad bet before the recession. His last job at 80 years old, washing dishes at the Horseshoe Casino for $10.10 per hour. I called him one day. I said, you know, how was work today? He said, it was great. I said, it was great. I said, you've been washing dishes all day. You're 80. How is that great? He said, well, I just figured out. He said, not only my paycheck can allow me to pay for my wife's pharmaceutical bill, and think about that, that sentence, he couldn't afford his wife's pharmaceutical bill. It's literally not possible in any other industrialized nation. He said, not only am I going to be able to pay for my wife's pharmaceutical bill, I realized I won't have to pay so much for my diabetes medication because I burned up all my sugar washing dishes. Always the optimist. It's made him a great entrepreneur. shouldn't be necessary in America. So we've put a plan on the table. said, you know, if Washington won't fix this problem, we will fix it here. We put a plan on the table to take on the pharmaceutical companies and to re-import our drugs from Canada so we can get a better price. We put a plan on the table. As we're moving, it'll take us about 2 years to get all the consensus, all the legislation in place to create Medicare for all. We will expand the enrollment period for Obamacare. We know that each of those is ultimately temporary. And so what we're most proud of is that we've put a plan on the table to create Medicare for all for Marylanders. There's no state that has taken a bigger step towards Medicare for all than this one. We passed all-payer 2 generations ago. And while Donald Trump and Larry Hogan have sown a poison pill into the latest all-payer, we'll get rid of Donald Trump and we'll fix that poison pill issue. But let's be clear. We, as Maryland, have been on the cutting edge of healthcare affordability for 2 generations, and we have a responsibility to maintain that tradition and to stay on the cutting edge of healthcare affordability. And the next logical step is for us to move to Medicare for all. And when we do that, we can bring down infant mortality rates. We can bring down maternal death rates. You go to our public hospitals, you ask a simple question of nurses, as I have. And our nurses are heroes, and I'm proud to have their endorsement. You say, why? Why is the maternal death rate in Maryland so much higher than it is in any other industrialized nation? Why is the infant mortality rate so much higher? And they say because so many of these women, they didn't have any health care before they got here. And it all came to a head. All that neglect came to a head the moment called childbirth. It shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way. Our neighbors shouldn't have to ration their medication because they couldn't afford to feed themselves if they did. Our seniors, let alone ones who are 80 years old, shouldn't have to go back into the workforce just to pay for their pills. Mothers shouldn't be dying. Babies not dying unnecessarily. Small businesses shouldn't be getting choked. But you know what gives me hope in this campaign? What gives me hope is that the people of Maryland are ready. They're looking for solutions. On the Eastern Shore is a guy named Billy. He's a finance manager at a car dealership. He voted for Donald Trump. And the gathering in Talbot County told me he's going to be voting for me. And why? Why? Because he said, my bottom line is my business and my people. And neither gets stronger until we move to Medicare for all. He said, I had hoped Donald Trump would do it because he kept talking about how Canada has a better healthcare system and Scotland has a better healthcare system. So I thought maybe he was winking at us. But I figured out, no, Donald Trump's not going to do it. Said, but if you'll do it, Mr. Jealous, I'll vote for you. That's where we are, y'all. We can fix this. We have the power in Maryland to fix this. We've already shown the nation that we can take a bigger step towards Medicare for all than any other state ever has. And we can go the distance because we are not a no, you can't state. We are a yes, we can state. This is the state of Harriet Tubman and Frederick Douglass and Barbara Mikulski and Thurgood Marshall. If there is a state that has been ready to lead the country in creating more justice for its people, it's always been this one. So let's get back to being the best Maryland we can be and go out there and pass Medicare for all.
Yeah.
Now, I think we got some questions. And if you forgot, that's J House Party 646 to 22333. All right, J House Party 646 to 22333. So please, send us your questions. I think we have a couple right now.
We do. My name is Rita Collins, and I'm a nurse with National Nurses United. First question here is from Hank and Olney. How will we pay for Medicare for all?
Hank and Olney, how will we pay for Medicare for all? First question we have to ask is, how can we afford the current healthcare system? In all honesty, it's the most expensive option. In America, we pay almost twice as much for our health care, and we get about half as much. pay more, we get less. Our healthcare costs have surged 120% in 4 years of Larry Hogan. And then you realize we actually have two healthcare systems in our country. One is a corporate healthcare system where the prices are out of control. And the other is Medicare, where the cost structure is much more stable. In the corporate system, the overhead is 19%. In Medicare, it's 3%. And we can leverage the buying power of the people of the state to get a better deal. To get a better deal in pharmaceuticals, to get a better deal in healthcare. What we want to do for Maryland is what Jeff Bezos and Warren Buffett want to do for Amazon and Berkshire Hathaway. We want to create a healthcare system that leverages our buying power. This is fundamentally about getting a better deal for the people of the state. The question really is, how can we afford to not move to Medicare for all? If we have two systems and one works better than the other, in this case Medicare works better, and then you consider it actually works better for the most expensive population to insure. Imagine when you bring all those young people into a similar system. It will only be stronger, and the cost structure will only be more stable.
Next question is from Sandra from Rockville. Has your campaign taken any money from the pharmaceutical industry?
You know, one of the big differences between me and Larry Hogan, the question is, have you taken money from the pharmaceutical industry? Larry Hogan takes money from the pharmaceutical industry. They're the ones funding all of those attack ads. If the pharmaceutical industry tells you that we cannot afford Medicare for all, consider that they're making a true statement. Their profits cannot withstand Medicare for all. We are 5% of the world's people. We are 63% of the pharmaceutical industry's profits. They do a lot of good in a lot of ways, but they are doing a lot of bad to our economy. And that's why I'm proud to say, unlike our governor, I don't take money from the pharmaceutical company. No, this campaign is taking on the pharmaceutical company.
Roxanne from Silver Spring wants to know, how is Medicare for all different from the Affordable Care Act?
You know, I'm proud that when I was president of the NAACP, played a significant role in helping President Obama pass the ACA. We set up a war room, we brought small business people from across the country to push back against the U.S. Chamber and make it clear that small business people across the country wanted to be able to provide health care to their employees and needed a way to afford it. But we knew then that that was just a step in the right direction, that we were ultimately dealing with a massive system that needed to be transformed. And that's why I'm proud to say, not only has President Obama endorsed my campaign, President Obama recently endorsed the idea of Medicare for all, calling it a good new idea.
Next question is from Jacob from Upper Marlboro. How will Medicare for all help to bring down prescription drug costs?
You know, ultimately, Medicare for all empowers us to leverage the buying power of the people in the state. It allows us to negotiate on behalf of every consumer in Maryland for a better deal from the pharmaceutical companies. This is about having one insurer negotiate for the entire state rather than multiple insurers negotiate. We've also put additional plans on the table to create greater leverage with the pharmaceutical companies, including creating a pricing board that would prohibit them from significantly increasing the rates on us and require transparency. There's a lot of gaming going on right now with pharmaceutical prices. And again, because I don't take money not only from any pharmaceutical companies, I don't take money from any corporations, from any corporate PACs, from big businesses of any kind. As governor, I'll be entirely free to represent you and your family and our neighbors in getting us the best possible price on health care for all of us.
Maria from Baltimore would like to know, why do you think it is possible to get Medicare for all done in Maryland when it hasn't succeeded in other states?
You know, it's a good question. In all honesty, we've only had one state really try, that was Vermont. Their economy, their population is about the size of Baltimore. Maryland, we're about 10 times larger. You do need some scale. But even centrist think tanks like the RAND Corporation have said states smaller than us, like Oregon, not only do they say it's a good option for Oregon, they say it's the only good option for Oregon, that they need to move to Medicare for all. So we know that study after study has shown that Medicare for all can work well for states smaller than us and larger than us. And we know that only one state's really tried and they were tiny, and it's Vermont. The other states, what you're talking about is a legislative battle. And I can tell you, my years leading the NAACP, for instance, fighting to abolish the death penalty in Maryland, Martin O'Malley tried, and a few years later, I helped get it done. In other words, we often try session after session to pass the same idea, and then eventually we get it done. And so what you're seeing in New York and in California is that the movement's growing stronger and stronger. In California, Gavin Newsom, like me, is running on a platform of let's pass Medicare for all. So it's really not a question of it having failed in a place. It hasn't really been tried anywhere. Just Vermont even got a step further than any other state. No, it's really about who's going to get there first. And I'll be happy if California gets there first, or if New York gets there first. It'll make it even easier for us to be greater economies of scale to work with. But I'm also very comfortable with Maryland taking the lead. This is something that we can win. It's something that we urgently need. And again, all I'm saying, there's nothing more capitalist than to say, I just want to do for Maryland what Jeff Bezos wants to do for Amazon. That's what you're buying about.
I have a two-part question from Scott from Bethesda. Can you talk about your plan to combat the opioid crisis and how will you address it?
It's urgent that we deal with the opioid crisis. Raise your hand here if someone you know, someone you love knows is dealing with the opioid crisis. You're a friend or a friend of a friend or a family member. Every room, there's many of us. I've got a cousin in rehab right now in a different state for heroin addiction. And what we know is that this crisis is profound. It was on the Eastern Shore, upper middle class family's backyard. Girl, blonde ponytail, with a tennis racket in her hand, walked up, 13 years old. So what do you want the next governor to know? She said, I've been to funerals for 3 of my classmates in the last 12 months. They all died as they went to Governor Hogan ran. He said it was a crisis. He said it was an emergency. He said he would declare a state of emergency on his first day. It was more like the first day of his third year. 2 years he didn't do anything. He said he studied the issue. We already had the answers. This is a public health crisis. We have to deal with it as the public health crisis that it is. We need rehab on demand, so we put a plan on the table for that. We need to have crisis centers in all 10 corners. We have 10 crisis centers, so they're in every corner of the state. That's what the leaders of our legislature proposed years ago. Governor Hogan ultimately funded one. And that one's been underfunded. It's in Baltimore. It's rationing naloxone, the life-saving drug. The doctors say that we needed the Republicans pretend that there'd be a greater addiction crisis if we saved more people's lives. It's the worst kind of cynicism. And so I've said, we will deal with this as a public health crisis. We will move to rehab on demand. We will set up crisis centers, 10 of them across the state. We'll make sure all of them have everything that they need, including the life-saving drug naloxone. And we will take on the pharmaceutical companies. We will sue the pharmaceutical companies, and we'll require them to help pay for the cleanup of the damage that they've created. And we will create an Office of Pain Management at the cabinet level to train the healthcare providers in Maryland how to help their patients deal with pain without getting them addicted to drugs that are likely to kill them. And because, for other reasons, but also knowing that some studies suggest it may actually help lessen the need for opioids more broadly, we also have plans to legalize cannabis for adult use. Governor Hogan likes to pretend that incarceration is as important as rehabilitation and fighting opioids. Governor, the war on drugs has failed. We cannot incarcerate our way out of an addiction crisis. We need rehabilitation on demand.
And our final question is from Sergio from Bethesda. I want you to be my next governor of Maryland. What can I do?
Sergio, that's a great one. Thank you, brother. What can you do? We got 25 days, and everybody in this room, everybody online, everybody in every living room watching this today, I'm not going to ask anything of you more than I ask of myself. We got 25 days to prove that organized people can beat organized money. The other side has unleashed ad after ad after ad, funded by the pharmaceutical companies, funded by the Koch brothers, using old tired tactics from Willie Horton to Donald Trump, trying to scare people, accusing us of all sorts of horrible things, trying to drive a wedge between working families. And where we need your help, Sergio, and everyone here, is in pulling people together. Black, white, brown, Native American, Asian American, rural, urban, suburban, across every line they say is supposed to divide us. So we can all move forward and build a better future for our kids. What does that mean? It means go to benjealous.com/volunteer. Or just go to benjealous.com and press volunteer. You'll see a list of 25 offices all across the state, from Cumberland to Wicomico, and everywhere in between, in some cases beyond. And they're open 10 to 8 every day. And any day you got some time, just go there. They'll give you a list of folks to call or a list of doors to knock on. That's the number one thing we need. If you can give money, understand, we don't take money from the big corporations. The average donation to Friends at Ben Jealous last quarter, it wasn't $27 like Bernie, but it was $42. And so anything you can give helps. Go to benjealous.com, click contribute. Just give whatever you can. But most importantly, please, give your time over these next 25 days. We knock those doors, we make those phone calls, we will win. Why? Because Democrats in Maryland, like-minded independents in Maryland, we win by turning out more than 1 million voters. No Republican has ever even turned out 900,000. Martin O'Malley won with more than 1 million votes. Larry Hogan won with 885,000 votes. How is that possible? We didn't show up. My campaign has already hired 5 times more organizers than we had on the ground 4 years ago on election day. Those organizers need your help as volunteers. So please, go to benjealous.com, click volunteer, sign up, or just go to one of the 25 offices and join us every day, 10 to 8. We vote, we win. You knock those doors, you make those calls, we got this. For their leadership. I want to thank Bernie for the inspiration and for being right there with us. But more than anything, I want to thank each of you who could have been, I don't know, out dancing tonight and doing something a little more fun.
In the rain.
Dancing in the rain, no less.
I thought this goes till 9:30.
We're actually going to drop a sparkly ball here and turn up the music. But for the rest of you, please go on home, put the babies to bed, get up tomorrow, knock doors, make calls, and let's go win this.
You're good.
It's not like that.
I'll get it.